Okay, what if you thought of every single social interaction as a game of chess? Today, we're going to dive into a pretty intense playbook for social strategy. It sees the world less as a place for, happy collaboration and more as a field for calculated moves. So let's learn the rules so we can actually play the game. So, this entire philosophy we're exploring today is really built on one pretty cynical observation. It all starts with this phrase: this world is full of. Go on, take a guess what comes next. Innovators? Dreamers? Yeah, the real answer might just surprise you. And there it is. According to our source material, the world is just packed with people trying to get one over on everybody else. It's a game. Some people are players, and others are just the pieces on the board. This isn't your typical self-help talk. This is a straight-up guide to survival. So that brings us to the million-dollar question, right? How do you play this game without being the one who gets played? Look, the goal here isn't to become some master manipulator. It's just to make sure you're never, ever the one being made a fool of. It's all about strategic self-preservation. And lucky for us, the source material lays out the rules. All right, let's jump right into the first and, honestly, the most fundamental rule, what we're calling the cloak of invisibility. And this isn't about going on the attack. It's all about defense. It's about controlling what people see and, maybe more importantly, what they don't see. Now, this first rule is going to feel a little weird because it goes against everything we're normally taught. We're told to show off our strengths, right? But that can be a huge mistake. If you're always showing how clever you are, people might see you as a threat, or you just become the person who gets saddled with all the work. The real strategy? Appear simple. Let people underestimate you. You'll find they're way more willing to help, and you can get your goals accomplished with a lot less resistance. So how do you actually do that? How do you appear simple? Well, you do it by keeping all the important stuff locked away in what you could call a personal black box. You never reveal your true goals. Never show your weaknesses. Keep your special talents under wraps, and for sure, never ever telegraph your next move. Every piece of information you share is potential ammunition for someone else. And that's the whole point of rule number 1. It's pretty simple, really. If nobody knows your weaknesses, they can't exploit them. If nobody knows your next move, they can't block it. Being a mystery isn't about being standoffish or weird. It's a defensive strategy that makes you unpredictable and way, way harder to control. Okay, so you've built your defenses. You're a vault. Now what? Well, this is where it starts to build. Once your own position is secure because you're a total mystery, it's time to shift gears. Not with action, but with information. It's time to master the art of observation. Now, let's be super clear here. This concept of observation power, it's not about gathering dirt on people just to hurt them. Think of it more as a tool for strategic awareness. When you can understand what drives someone, what they're afraid of, where they're vulnerable, you can start to anticipate what they're going to do next. So you see the dynamic here, right? It's a two-part play, really. You become an open book to absolutely no one, but everyone else becomes an open book to you. While you're carefully guarding your own info, you're actively studying the people around you. It creates this one-way flow of information, and that gives you a massive advantage. All right, so you've built your defenses. You've surveyed the landscape. Now it's finally time for action. Rule number 3 is all about using your words to shape reality. This is the power of influence. And the process laid out for us is a pretty clear 3-step progression. First, you build trust. You use your words to make people feel safe, to make them feel understood. That lowers their guard. Second, you present your idea with absolute, unshakable confidence, so there's really no room for doubt. And then finally, once that trust is there and your idea is planted, you can gently guide the conversation to get the outcome you want. At the end of the day, your ability to communicate with confidence and build that trust, that's what turns all your quiet observation into actual action. It's how you go from just watching the chessboard to actually moving the pieces and getting things done. And now we come to the final rule. And honestly, this might be the most important one of all, because without it, the entire strategy just collapses. This is the ultimate defense against arrogance. You never, ever underestimate other people. The single biggest mistake a strategist can make, according to the source, it's overconfidence. The moment you assume the person across from you is simple, that they're not a threat, that is the exact moment you become the fool. Okay, So, if you can't just dismiss people as weak or not so smart, how are you supposed to judge them? How do you size them up accurately without falling right into that trap of underestimation? Well, the advice is to look way deeper than just surface level stuff. Observe how people think, not just what they're saying. Really try to understand their point of view, see how they frame their ideas, and always be on the lookout for their hidden motivations. That's the kind of deep observation that stops you from making lazy and really dangerous assumptions. The key really is to just adopt this one mindset. Assume everyone is a player. Assume they're just as strategic, just as observant, and just as ambitious as you are. What does that do? It forces you to stay sharp, to stay prepared, because it reminds you that in this game, there are no easy opponents. And that pretty much brings us to the end of this playbook. A world of calculated moves, hidden intentions. A little intense, right? It forces us to ask a really pointed question about our own approach to life. So after hearing all these rules, you have to ask yourself, what are you? An open book for anyone to read, or a strategist who's playing the long game?